Well, hey guys, welcome. This is day 11 of Own It already. I can't believe we've gone so far. We're actually all the way in Genesis chapter 26 already. So many of you have been commenting again just on how things are going. So if you've not joined us already, it's not too late. It's not too late to join us and become part of this. I want to talk about parenting a little bit today. Parenting can be tough, amen. As we think about what it means to really parent, what does that look like? What does that function? And how is it that we do what we do? And what are the things that really matter in life? And I think far too often, as a parent, I'm a parent myself. I've got two awesome daughters. Hi, Jordan. Hi, Jade. Not that they watch my stuff, but just in case they watch my stuff, I love my daughters to death. And I think throughout, they're older now. They're in their 20s, right? And I think about some of the conversations I've had with them as adults now, and to recognize that they they valued certain things more than others, certain times with me more than others, certain things that I did, and I knew as a parent that it mattered to train up my child in the way that they should go. But what did that really look like, and what were the most impactful things? And so as we're reading through Genesis, it's really interesting to me to see the parenting that happens and the things that happen. And one great example is Abraham. We've talked about if you were with me on Sunday or even last night on Wednesday night, we talked about Abraham's failure in Egypt and with in Gerar with Abimelech, the king, that he says, "Hey, Sarah is my sister," and what brought that on. And then here we are in chapter 26, and we see Isaac do the exact same thing. It's really interesting to me because Isaac wasn't born at that point. He wasn't born when Abraham did it for the first time in Egypt. He wasn't born when Abraham did it again in Abimelech in Gerar, where Isaac is now. He wasn't born, so he wouldn't have known all that. But obviously through the storytelling, the narrative that was going on, he heard about what his dad had done, his father had done, and here he finds himself in the same spot. He's going, by the way, understand he's going to Egypt, and God says, "Don't go to Egypt." This is a recurring theme. Those of you that were with me last night on Wednesday night, you understand what I'm talking about there. And this is a recurring theme, but God says, "Don't go to Egypt. You need to stay in this land." So he goes to Abimelech, and let me just first of all just kind of give you a little bit. Abimelech, this was not the same Abimelech that Abraham had also fooled, right? But more than likely, this was a general name. Think of Pharaoh, right? Pharaoh for Egypt. Well, Abimelech possibly was a general name for the king of that point, right? Now, he's the king of the Philistines. And so we need to recognize the Philistines, who the Philistines become, and they become a thorn in the flesh, right? Well, can I just tell you where that started? That started with Abraham. That started with Abraham's deceit. And then here we have Isaac doing the same deceit. And it's about parenting because we need to recognize the things that we do that our kids don't even see can impact them, will impact them. And as parents, we need to be cognizant of the things that we're doing. Abraham went and sinned. He did this thing, right? Isaac now repeats the same sin. Again, he wasn't alive, but he had heard about it, he knew about it. However, Abraham had talked to him and told him the story. And for some reason, Isaac thinks it's okay to do. Where you would have thought, being a good parent, Abraham would have told his story, said, "Don't do this. It's not good. It's not going to be healthy." And we see in chapter 26 that it's not healthy for the children of Israel, or at this point, there's no Israel yet. Okay, he's coming, right? But that Isaac recognizes that it becomes a hardship, and there's conflict between these two nations, the Philistine nation, really at this point, and Isaac and his family. They're not a nation yet. There becomes a conflict, and I dug this well, this whole thing, right? And so the sin of the father is now placed on the son. The son recreates the sin, and again redraws these battle lines between the Philistines and who are going to become the Israelites. We will read a lot about the Philistines, specifically in the time of David, to recognize David is dealing with the sins of Abraham, dealing with the sins of Isaac. And as parents, let me challenge you. It's not just what you do, but it's what you don't do. It's not what you do in front of your kids, but it's what you do when you're not in front of your kids that also matters. And parents, if you're not taking your kids to church, go to church. But if that's the only reason you're going to church, then don't go to church, because your kids see. I know that's weird that I just said don't go to church, but your kids see that the only reason you're going to church is for them. For some reason you've become mature enough in your relationship with God that you don't need church, and you're not getting anything out of it, and you don't find it valuable. You're not investing in church yourself. Okay, I'm preaching now. Yeah, I'm preaching at you. Right? If you're in church and you're not invested in church, your kids know it. And when they get older, they're going to make that decision. And you're going to wonder and like, well, Pastor, I don't know what happened to my kid. Well, can I tell you what happened is they heard what Abraham did. They saw what you did. They know what you did. You're not invested. You don't do any ministry. You're not part of the church. You show up a Sunday morning, sometimes late to church. Come on now. You're feeling me on that one. You show up late, you leave, and that's the only connection is Sunday morning. And you're wondering what is happening to your kids. Why do my kids run away? Why are they not devoted to God? Why are they not following God? Because they saw what you did or what you didn't do. Can I get a witness? I'm sorry, I'm getting excited about this because I recognize in this early reading in Genesis, in the early reading of Abraham and Isaac, and what we're going to see with Jacob and Esau, what we're going to see this family dysfunction, this horrible parenting all the way throughout. What I see is they're setting their children up for failure. And you and I as parents, you and I as grandparents, we need to stop setting our kids up for failure. We need to set them up for success. We need to show them what it means to read my word. We need to have our Bible out at home, and we need to show them this is what it means to read my Bible. We need to pray, and you need to pray out loud at home, not those mamby-pamby, let me, oh God bless my food, but be praying at home. Let them know you're praying for them. Let them know that you care about them. You need to have worship music at home. Teach them what it is to worship at home. Then your kids will know. They'll be officially trained. They'll be trained in the way that they should go. And when they're old, they will not depart from it, because what they saw is the father. They saw the mother doing what is important, not just going to church for their kids, but going to church for themselves and knowing the value of it, knowing the value of being in fellowship, knowing the value of being devoted to the apostles' teaching, to the fellowship, to the breaking of the bread, and to the prayers. Acts chapter 4, by the way. Understand, as parents, that is our role. Your and my role is to ensure that our kids are trained. And again, they're trained by what they see.